As his wedding to Taylor Swift nears, these players are being considered to replace Travis Kelce on Chiefs. As the NFL enters another off-season of uncertainty about Travis Kelce's future, the only thing that's absolute is the known fact that he will be wedding Taylor Swift later this year. If the tight end ultimately decides to retire from the Kansas City Chiefs, then replacing him on the offensive line will be a monumental task for head coach Andy Reid. Professional teams are already eyeing the 2026 draft class ahead of the new league year next month, and there are a number of college players from the FBS who are candidates for replacing Travis Kelce if he announces his retirement amid wedding planning with Taylor Swift. Here are the players who are being speculated as Travis Kelce replacements. Perhaps the most talked about Kelce-style prospect in the 2026 draft class is Kenyon Sadiq from the University of Oregon. Widely regarded as the top tight end in this draft crop, Sadiq has shown a strong receiving presence in the Ducks offense with a grand total of over 500 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns during his 2025 season. If there is a top prospect to replace Travis Kelce, then Sadiq is that prospect. But that's not to discount a second name on the list of possible Kelce replacements whom Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs are believed to be considering. That prospect is Max Clare out of Ohio State's national championship-winning football program. While Clare's 2025 season had its ups and downs, collegiate analysts and commentators have noted that he plays a balanced game overall and is a dependable player at tight end. Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt is a name that is rising very rapidly on draft boards as the tight end has emerged as one of the most productive tight ends in college football after having led Power 5 teams with impressive receiving numbers. Stowers is also the recipient of the John Mackey Award, which is a national award given to the best tight end in college football. Another prospect analysts and fans are buzzing about is Lake McCree out of the University of Southern California, USC, who decided to forego his final collegiate football season to declare for the 2026 draft in a shock move. McCree finished as one of USC's key receiving options, and perhaps as a sign, he is already number 87 on the FBS program's team, so perhaps he's destined to replace Travis Kelce. Is Taylor Swift performing at the Brit Awards? Host Jack Whitehall breaks silence on whether Opalite singer could be attending a award show in Manchester. The singer-songwriter is riding high following the success of her 12th album, The Life of a Showgirl, which was released in October 2025. Taylor is also celebrating after claiming her 6th #1 with her latest single, Opalite. Rumors have spread over the last few weeks that the star, 36, is set to make a surprise appearance at the upcoming Brit Awards 2026. Taylor is rumored to be in the UK at the time of the ceremony, with a BRIT-shaped hole in her schedule that may allow her to head to Manchester for the event. The Sun previously reported that Taylor, who is nominated for International Artist of the Year and Best International Song at the ceremony, could be making an appearance that a source told the newspaper. Taylor is hiding out in London at the moment and is scheduled to visit Manchester, which seems like she could be lined up for a surprise appearance at the Brit Awards. Taylor was handed the Global Icon Award at the ceremony back in 2021 and has a huge amount of respect for the Brits. She loves it. Brits bosses are trying to keep everything under lock and key, but it feels too much like a coincidence that Taylor is secretly in the UK at the exact time of the Brits. The fact her team are all heading home the Monday after the ceremony is fishy. Manchester is an amazing city, but Taylor wouldn't just be coming to look at the cathedral and the Etihad, would she? Comedian and actor Jack Whitehall, who is presenting Saturday's ceremony, has now broken his silence on the matter, and it's bad news for Swifties. When pressed by Hits radio host Fleur East on whether Taylor will be in attendance, Jack said, "She will not be there." That sounded so unconvincing, but it's true. She won't be there. The stand-up joked that Taylor would instead be at the Frog and Bucket Comedy Club in Manchester at the time of the ceremony. He joked, "She doesn't like the big events. She likes the proper spit and sawdust, keeping it real comedy club." The Brit Awards will air live at 8:15 p.m. on Saturday, February 28th on ITV1, STV, ITVX and STV Player. International viewers will be able to tune into the ceremony via a live stream on. Taylor Swift's Opalite is #1 on Billboard's Hot 100. But is it a real hit? It's harder than ever for albums to produce multiple chart-topping singles. Taylor Swift just did it anyway. I have watched Citizen Kane somewhere between 12 and 24 times. So it's hard to say I have just one favorite scene or line of dialogue. There are enough bon mots in that script to fill a whole song. But I particularly enjoy the scene in which the late Charles Foster Kane's estranged best friend, Jedediah Leland, is being interviewed in the retirement home as he snarkily recounts Kane's most humbling scandal. He was always trying to prove something. That whole thing about Susie being an opera singer, that was trying to prove something. You know what the headline was the day before the election. Candidate Kane found in love nest with, quote, singer, unquote. He was going to take the quotes off the singer. Far be it for me to compare our mightiest 21st century pop star to cinema's most legendary 20th century megalomaniac, but Citizen Swift, too, is always trying to prove something. And as I was saying a few months ago, shortly after she released her record-breaking album The Life of a Showgirl, when it comes to the charts, she likes to win. When she announced the LP, co-produced by Swift with Swedish pop craftsman Max Martin and Shellback, her collaborators from her peak mid-10s pop LPs read 1989 and Reputation, she knew what her fans were anticipating and what the headlines were saying. Swift Tio reunite with 1989 masterminds. Bangers expected. Okay, no article had that exact headline, but it accurately captures the gist of what everybody, Swift and her fiancé included, were proclaiming in the feverish weeks before launch day. Then the album arrived, and the Swiftie sniping ensued. Where were the bangers? Sure, the album was catchy enough, but to hear the online hordes tell it, there's no Shake It Off on Showgirl, no Blank Space, no Style, or Bad Blood. The comparisons to 1989 seemed especially damning because Swift's peak pop album wasn't just a bestseller, it was packed with serious hits. 3 of its singles, Shake, Blank, and Blood, reached the top of the Hot 100, making 1989 the only Swift LP to generate more than one #1 pop hit. Of the other 10 Hot 100 toppers Swift racked up between 2012 and 2024, each came from a separate album, including one each from her Taylor's version re-recordings of Red in 1989. It seemed the only way Swift could top the Hot 100 was to ride the first-week hype that accompanied each of her new LPs, except for the original 1989, the Miracle Hit Generator. But like Charlie Kane building an opera house just so his wife could perform in it, Taylor was going to demonstrate something about Showgirl to all us naysayers. She bought herself a second #1 hit. Well, to be exact, she got her Swiftie army to buy it for her. As Jedediah Leland might say, Swift was going to take the quotes off the bangers. I know I sound as snarky as O.L. Leland about all this, but here's where my Kane analogy falls down. That second Showgirl #1 hit, it deserved to go to #1. It's a real hit. It's hardly my favorite Swift hit. And yes, she worked her wizardry to get it there, but she pushed a song to the top that earned its place. Susan Alexander Kane may only be a quote-unquote singer, but Opalite is a quotes-free, chart-endorsed B.O.P. The perkiest ditty on Swift's latest album, which is saying something, because it's a very Johnny album. Opalite is like a one-woman girl group song. Swift was already giving off 60s girl group energy in the video for the LP's first single, The Fate of Ophelia. Among the many costumes Taylor tries on in that time-traveling visual, one of them is in homage to vintage Ronettes. But Opalite bakes that Ronettes homage right into the song. The chorus is built around a percolating 3-note progression that attaches itself to your frontal lobe. It's all right. / you were dancing through the lightning strikes / sleepless in the onyx night / but now the sky is opalite / UWHOOO. That last WHOAO is a pretty direct lift of Ronnie Spector's stickiest hook from the Ronettes' classic Be My Baby, an immortal #2 hit from 1963 that the Beach Boys' Brian Wilson called the greatest record ever produced. As I've discussed on my podcast Hit Parade, imitating the Phil Spector, produced Be My Baby is an evergreen trick that past hits from Billy Joel to Meat Loaf to Eddie Money have pulled in their quest for pop immortality. In music, if you steal from the best. On Opalite, the allusion to Be My Baby has additional lyrical resonance, as the song is basically a dedication to Swift's own baby, Travis Kelce. Opal is Kelce's birthstone, and to Swift, the artificial gem Opalite is a metaphor for making one's own happiness. From the moment Opalite arrived with the Showgirl album in October, it's been the lady-in-waiting to the lead single, The Fate of Ophelia. Because Swift's LPs now routinely monopolize the Hot 100 when they drop, Showgirl's 12 tracks predictably took over the top 12 spots in its first week, among them Ophelia at number 1 and Opalite at number 2. Swift's consumption stats are so much bigger than any other current pop acts that kind of chart takeover is now expected. But what's remarkable this time is what Ophelia and Opalite did in the months after their debut. Ophelia racked up an impressive 10 weeks at number 1, Swift's longest command of the Hot 100 in her career to date. Join me in pouring one out for her prior record holder, the 8-week number 1 Antihero, which I still think is the superior song. But in a way, what Opalite did was even more exceptional. It stuck close. The song spent its first 8 chart weeks in the top 10, most of them in the top 5, before the usual December stretch, when Christmas songs take over the top 10 and eject all of the current hits. Then in January, when the holiday songs fell away, Opalite leapt back into the top 10 and stayed there 7 of the next 8 weeks, never falling lower than number 11. No prior Taylor Swift single had this chart pattern. Sure, several Swift songs have staged impressive chart comebacks, like Red's All Too Well, which became a chart topper nearly a decade after it was first released, when Taylor re-recorded and expanded it, or Lover's Cruel Summer, which was revived by the Eras Tour and staged a post-pandemic march to number 1, 4 years after its initial 2019 release. But in both of those cases, the songs essentially disappeared and became sleeper fan favorites before their revival as big hits. That's not what Opalite did. It was behaving as a de facto hit continually for nearly 5 months, shadowing Ophelia and waiting its turn. Fans were organically streaming it, and radio stations playing it, without any effort on Swift's part. So of course, eventually, Swift gave the song a nudge. The initial promotional bump was the music video, whose backstory is probably more fun than the video itself. The concept seemingly formed in Swift's brain last fall when she appeared on British TV's The Graham Norton Show. If you've never had the pleasure of watching Norton's boozy, convivial chat show, he assembles each episode like a dinner party, inviting motley groups of celebrities to assemble on a single living room-like set. On Swift's most recent Norton appearance, she appeared alongside Louis Capaldi, Greta Lee, Cillian Murphy, Jodie Turner-Smith, and Domhnall Gleeson, who by all signs sparked Swift when he jokingly quipped that he was hoping to appear in a Swift music video. In the Norton clip, you can see Swift apparently having a brainstorm in real time when Gleeson says this. About 4 months later, all of that night's Norton guests, plus Norton himself, make appearances in the Opalite video. Set in the 1990s, the strenuously amusing clip co-stars Swift and Gleeson as a pair of wallflowers who have bonded with inanimate objects, a pet rock and a cactus, respectively, before forging a bond with each other. Because Swift is always paying attention to music industry minutiae and chart strategy, when the video dropped in early February, she did not make it available on YouTube for the first couple of days. Why? Billboard and YouTube are currently in a fight over how Billboard tallies its charts. YouTube is arguing that the magazine undercounts ad-supported plays across streaming services, while the music industry contends YouTube still underpays its artists. And as of January, YouTube is withholding its data from Billboard's charts. Accordingly, Swift launched the Opalite music video on Spotify and Apple Music, knowing those plays would count for the Hot 100. But there are limits even to Swift's power, because the clip happened to arrive the same week Bad Bunny played the Super Bowl halftime show. As Benito slammed multiple songs into the Hot 100's top 10, the release of Swift's new video only got Opalite back up to number 8 at SO. Then Swift deployed her second, not-so-secret weapon, her Swiftie Army's hunger for new collectibles. Truthfully, Swift had always planned to release Opalite as an official, physical retail single. Back in late January, she put on sale not only 7-inch vinyl singles of the original track, but also some thumping dance remixes on compact disc by remixers Chris Lake, Scream, Ely Oaks, and Bunt. She even offered an acoustic version, as both the B-side of the vinyl single and on iTunes at a discounted price of 69 cents. These products were planned months ago. What changed in February, in the wake of the Bad Bunny chart explosion, was the ship date of these collectibles. Billboard counts physical music for the charts, not when it is ordered but when it ships, and so Swift and her label delayed shipment of the singles for the week after the Super Bowl. This massive retail drop made all the difference. These days, normally, Streams are what send hits to number one, but Opalite currently ranks only 17th among streaming songs. That's strong but not exceptional. The sales were what did the trick. In the most recent chart week, Opalite, across all its versions, sold 168,000 copies, 144,000 physical and 24,000 digital. Those are eye-popping totals in an era when the top-selling download in any given week might sell less than 10,000 copies. Between those sales and Opalite's ongoing, ever-growing radio airplay, since October, it has never left the radio songs chart and now ranks third among all airplay hits. The song made an easy jump on the overall Hot 100 from number 8 to number 1. That, by the way, makes it Swift's 14th career number 1 on the Hot 100, pulling her even with Rihanna on the all-time list. Tay and RIH are behind the Beatles, still tops with 20 number 1s, Mariah Carey with 19, and counting number 1s on Billboard's pre-Hot 100 predecessors, Elvis Presley with 17. So, Swift the mad chart scientist strikes again, right? Sure, but she is far from the only artist who's had to work the angles to make an album's second single a chart topper. As I've discussed numerous times in this Slate number 1 hit series, follow-up singles are hard to promote in the digital era. It's a scarcity problem, more to the point, a lack of scarcity. In the analog era of hitmaking, second singles went to number 1 all the time. From Stevie Wonder's You Are the Sunshine of My Life to Fleetwood Mac's Dreams, Michael Jackson's Billie Jean to Wham's Careless Whisper, Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men's One Sweet Day to NSYNC's It's Gonna Be Me. All follow-up hits, all chart-topping singles. When the recording industry controlled the selection of singles to promote and the flow of physical product, they could build a campaign around a second, third, or even seventh single months after an album dropped and push it to number 1. But that control ended a couple of decades ago when digital downloading broke apart the album into interchangeable tracks. When an album is released, all the songs are available for individual consumption. So modern pop stars have to get awfully clever to get a follow-up single to number 1, whether that's via a viral dance challenge, a guest vocalist, or a celebrity-studded music video. Swift herself has tried several of these tactics. Witness the Kendrick Lamar guest rap on Bad Blood in 2015 and the Celeb Pact Opalite clip this year. But the truth is that Graham Norton sparked video only did so much for Opalite. The retail drop is what got it to the top. Still, Swift wouldn't have sold more than 100,000 copies of a song if it hadn't genuinely built a base of support over many months, independent of any promotional gambit. In this way, Opalite has more in common with Cruel Summer, a song that organically won favor with fans and eventually the masses, making the leap from fan-beloved album cut to chart-topping smash. That's a rare thing in the modern chart system, and Swift has now pulled it off twice. So maybe we all need to show the life of a showgirl a bit more respect. Its first single topped the Hot 100 longer than any Taylor Swift song in history, and its second single rose to number 1, well, partially because Swift is clever with shipping dates, but mostly because folks genuinely liked it and kept playing it for months before it was even tapped as a single. 2 number 1s from the same album is nothing to sneeze at. Reputation, Lover, Folklore, Evermore, Midnights, and Tortured Poets. None of them pulled that off. Charles Foster Kane may insist that people will think what I tell them to think, but he never does win that election, or convince the world that his second wife is a singer. Citizen Swift, meanwhile, may have engaged in some chicanery to put Opalite on top, but it only prevailed because it already had the support of the people. Taylor Swift and her family are obsessed with the Traitors, reveals Donna Kelce. While Taylor Swift is used to commanding stadiums packed with thousands, it seems her latest source of excitement is far more low-key, family nights spent watching the Traitors. And at the heart of that viewing ritual is someone very close to home, Donna Kelce. According to Female First UK, Taylor Swift and her parents, Scott Swift and Andrea Swift, are enthusiastic fans of the reality competition series. This season, however, the show carried extra significance. Donna Kelce, mother of Travis Kelce, stepped into the spotlight as the first ever secret traitor, a twist that added both tension and pride for those watching from home. Although Donna Kelce was eliminated in episode 3, her time on the show clearly meant a great deal to her family. Speaking during the Traitors reunion special, she shared that Taylor Swift and her family had been keeping up with every episode. Yes, she's a watcher. So is her family. They love traders, Donna said, offering a sweet glimpse into the Swift household's viewing habits. For Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce, watching their mother navigate deception and strategy was both surprising and delightful. Travis Kelce praised her confidence at the round table, calling her fantastic for standing firm under pressure. Jason Kelce, speaking on the New Heights podcast, admitted he had seen a completely different side of his mother. I loved watching her in it. She was way more deceitful and devious than I thought Mom could ever be, he said, clearly amused by her competitive streak.